Pissed liberal Nutjob just tweeted out Sheriff Clarke's home address calling for attack, bad idea. The mainstream media seems to be looking for a war and they may have just got it. Last Friday, Washington Post reporter Abby D. Phillip thought it would be a good idea to publish Sheriff David Clarke's address on Twitter. This sort of thing is called doxing, and for those who do not know what that means, I will explain it. Doxing is when someone publishes private or identifying information about a particular individual on the internet. When someone does this, it typically has malicious intent behind, but either way, it is not a good idea. I am not sure if you remember, but not too long ago in 2012, a New York newspaper created a national stir. Following the tragic massacre at Sandy Hook, the Westchester decided to publish an interactive map showing where all the gun owners lived in the area. Of course, there was a severe backlash from guns owners across the country, and rightfully so. Eventually, the editor and several other employees were fired from the paper. However, was the lesson really ever learned? Apparently, Abby D. Phillip didn't learn that valuable lesson, but I think she is now. These journalists in the mainstream media seem to believe that they live in some sort of ivory tower. That they can get away with anything and everything and that there will be no consequences. Which is what I am sure Abby D. Phillip thought when she published the home address of Sheriff David Clarke. However, Phillip quickly learned why that was a very bad idea. Sheriff Clarke is awesome with his tough talk and his patriotism. So, it was no surprise that Clarke would be offered a position in Trump's administration. Clarke was being considered for the role of Deputy Secretary at the Department of Homeland Security. However, last Friday, Sheriff Clarke formally notified Secretary of Homeland Security John F. Kelly that he would decline the position. According to The Hill, an advisor to Clarke told the Washington Post that the sheriff had officially notified Secretary of Homeland Security John Kelly late Friday that he had rescinded his acceptance. Clarke told conservative radio host Vicki McKenna during an interview last month that he had accepted the role of Deputy Secretary of Homeland Security. "I'm both honored and humbled to be appointed to this position by Secretary Kelly, working for the Trump administration," he previously said. Clarke was expected to start the role at the end of June, but the source told the Post that the appointment faced significant delays, which led to Clarke's decision to withdraw. During the 2016 presidential race, Clarke supported President Trump, and he has praised him since the inauguration. At the Conservative Political Action Conference in February, Clarke spoke of his support for Trump's executive orders on immigration. He would have worked with such policies had he been confirmed for the Homeland Security job. Somehow this prompted critics to say that an offer was never really made to Clarke. So, in order to prove that there was, in fact, an offer made to Clarke, Washington Post White House reporter and CNN political analyst Abby Phillip submitted proof that the offer was genuine, in the form of a tweeted copy of the letter from DHS. But, this proof Phillip offered prompted more questions than answers, such as, what was she thinking? Here is the tweet minus the letter with the address attached. The huge problem with Phillip not blacking out the address is that this is a member of law enforcement. Does Phillip not think that after the many years serving his community, Clarke has not made a few enemies? Thankfully, many people on Twitter noticed the address and promptly called out the moronic journalist. I would hope that no one messes with Clarke, since he is not the person you want to tango with. Though that really is not the issue if Clarke or his family is someone you would want to go up against. This is another blatant attempt by the mainstream media to cause more violence against outspoken conservatives. It has not even been a week since the horrible shooting of Representative Steve Scalise by a deranged liberal. These liberals are seriously out for blood, and there need to be serious consequences in order to stop their blind hatred of conservative and President Trump. This is now the time that law enforcement needs to start paying visits to those who makes these mistakes. I am sure that after a couple people are arrested and charged for inciting violence, this will all go away. However, till then we will continue to see this reckless actions by the media. Share if you think Abby Phillip should be fired for releasing Sheriff Clarke's address.